you know someone having a hard time coping with the loss of a loved one, there is help for you, and you don't have to go too far. The Valley Group that's helping people move forward.
Losing a loved one is traumatic, and everyone copes with death differently, especially if you're a child or even an adult trying to come to terms with saying goodbye. But there is help and hope for grieving families. Here to tell us more about a very special grief camp is Dr. Ellen Kelman. She is the Vice President of Stepping Stones of Hope, along with former campers Katie Stewart and her mom Karen. Great to see all of you. And all of you are volunteers. You do this on a volunteer basis. And Dr. Kelman, you are a licensed psychologist, and you've been going to Camp Pause for 15 years. Tell us about it.
That's right. Well, Camp Pause is part of Stepping Stones of Hope, and we're a nonprofit organization created 15 years ago. So pretty much since the beginning I've been involved. And what we do is we help children and their families who are grieving. But we do this in a really unique way. What we do is we have weekend retreats that we call camp, and that way we can really help people get away from it all and take a step forward in their grieving process.
We're looking at some really fun pictures. It doesn't look like you guys are sitting around sobbing by any means. And Katie, I understand you visited Camp Pause back in 2013 after the death of your father. Tell us a little bit about how that was a transformational experience for you.
Well, for camp, it's not grief camp, it's like techniques. And you play games, and it teaches you how to deal with grief and anger and your sadness. And we play fun games like fruit ball. It's baseball with fruit.
Aww.
And we meet the animals at the camp. It's, what is it?
Whispering Hope Ranch. They take in abused and abandoned animals, and that's part of the healing process. Really helps with grief, you know, to bond with some of these animals.
Absolutely. And Mom, I understand that, you know, this is a unique camp, and that it's not only for the kids, it's both for kids and adults. How did the camp help you in particular, and especially for your daughter? Because I can imagine sending her there, you were hopeful.
Absolutely, I was hopeful. Camp Pause is appropriately named. Pause is Spanish for peace, and it brought me a peace because I'm dealing with the grieving process and the loss of my husband and best friend. My grieving process was very different from hers because she lost her father. Our relationships were different. So it helped me because I knew that she was supported with people who have been there before, have gone through the process, and she was healing, and at the same time I was able to have that time to myself to heal. And the transformation I saw in Katie was amazing. Driving up, she was kind of regretting going to grief camp. Come on. On the way home, I couldn't get her to stop talking. She laughed, she had a blast. She started smiling again, which was really special for me because that's what I want for my child. I want her to be happy.
Absolutely. When you hear this, I can imagine this is exactly what this camp is about.
Right, that's what we noticed. Really, our goals are threefold. We really want to give people tools to help with the grieving process. There's so many misconceptions out there about how to grieve. We have doctors that will say, oh, you should be over that by now. And so we really want to do that. Second thing is, they're with other people, other children who are grieving. And as you know, they go to school, they'll often feel isolated. Nobody's experiencing what I'm experiencing. And so at camp, you're around other people, and we help adults and kids learn how to deal with each other. What do I do about my children to help them grieve?
Yeah, and Katie, you go back now as a volunteer. Is that wonderful for you?
Great.
Yeah, and Karen, one of the things, and very quickly, that you didn't want her to do after the death of her dad was what?
The death of her dad immediately made her an at-risk youth. And I wanted to make sure that she had the coping skills to not become a statistic. That was very important to me. And I've seen her heal, and this coming camp afterwards, she will have had 170 volunteer hours in 14 months with Stepping Stones of Hope.
Oh my
And
goodness.
to me, that tells me she's healing.
Absolutely. Healing and doing well and thriving. Well, you three are absolutely wonderful. Thank you for volunteering at this powerful camp. Stepping Stones of Hope is hosting their fall grief camp coming up, Camp Pause, on Saturday, October 11th and Sunday, October 12th in the beautiful Pines of Payson. Register for camp online at steppingstonesofhope.org, or you can give them a call, 602-264-7520.